My name is Brittany and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I thought we would talk a little bit about the Gather Round Middle Ages unit study. And so this is what that looks like. And specifically, I wanted to talk about how we at our home use this unit study. There's a ton of really awesome videos from other homeschooling moms that are flip throughs and tons of information out there already put out by other moms, which is awesome. But I just wanted to tell you how we use it in our homeschool. So we don't use Gather Round as an all-in-one. I just use it as just a unit study. So my children don't always do all of the notebooking pages. This year, for this unit, I decided to do the lap booking because I thought that would be super fun, especially for some of my younger learners. So if you did not know, Gather Round has offered a lap book for the Middle Ages unit. They don't have lap books for every unit, but they do offer it for the Middle Ages. And I have learners that are in the 7th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade, 1st grade, and then I have a toddler. So I thought this would be especially fun for my younger learners, but also surprisingly, my 7th grader enjoys this as well. So if you don't know what a lap book is, it is just a book that the child creates while they're working on their regular work. This can replace their notebooking pages. You can choose this as a replacement. So if you've been doing their notebooking pages, this might be a little bit of a change up for you and it might be fun. I will say I decided to only print the one because it's pretty stout here. I could have printed it for every single one. My kids actually they wanted to work as a team, which I thought that was great. But this has been a really fun tool. And it comes with the directions and all how to use it. And it makes a really cute little book in the end, we hope. So you might want to look into that if you have been doing the notebooking pages and wanted something to spice up your homeschool. The very first thing that I do when I'm planning a Gather Round unit, and I have done quite a few of them, is I just meticulously comb through the material. So once I purchased it, and since I have so many learners, I purchased the digital download so I could print all of that information. Something that I have learned to do that I love is I download the digital bundle to my iPad, and then I cast from my iPad to my television. So then I can read from my iPad and my children can follow along on the television. They can see everything that I can see, which we all seem to really, really enjoy that. I'm not holding pictures up for them. They can see everything on the television, and we really, really like that. The other thing that I thought was really awesome about this unit when it is, my kids' friends are calling me. When it's done like this, I don't know if you can see. So I'll just cast this to my television. If you look on the right-hand side of your work, this Gather Round unit has colors. You won't be able to see, but I can show you in a different view. It has colors here. So when I'm reading, if I've finished all of the yellow, my little learners have zoned out. I'm not as worried about my younger learners retaining all of this information. I just have to read what is color coded for them. And I thought that was super nice of Gather Round to do, because obviously my 1st grader, her attention span is only so long. So it has the colors on there to let me know that if she's zoning, that's okay. And most of the time my other kids are still engaged. And I really like that Gather Round put these color lines. While I'm reading, I can kind of keep tabs on what they need to know. Or if you have younger learners, it says that you can only read this much, and that's plenty for that particular kiddo. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get a unit study is I'm going to comb through this bad boy, and I'm going to see what I can pull out. So one of the things I like to do when I'm going through this is pull out small projects that my children can work on while I am reading. So when I was going through this, I discovered that they have a section in here on shields and family crests. We learn about that in one of the earlier lessons. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun for my kids to design their own? And that's something that they can do. And it's just something that's tactile for them to do while they're listening. And so I printed out these little shields, and I don't know if you can see, this one's not finished yet, but this is one of the ones that my daughter created. And then I have ones that that my younger learners created too. So just having things like this readily available. And what I would do is I would just sit down one day before we start our unit, and I'm just going to kind of skim through and say, oh, what would be fun for that particular week? And just, there's only like 20 weeks, so that shouldn't be that hard. You don't have to have something for your kiddo every single day, but just something that keeps it new and fresh, kind of keeps them guessing. I really enjoy doing that. It's just fun for me. So, it's just, obviously, if it's fun for me, then I do it more often. Another thing that we learned about were, like illustrated manuscripts. We learned about that. So I printed out, every kid got their name, their little letter, and they didn't have to do it if they didn't want to, but all of my kids chose to do this, and there are varying levels of talent there. So just going through week by week and finding out what you think is interesting and some activities for your kids to do while you're reading. When I'm doing that, I will also set up a YouTube video playlist. Now, Gather Round has links all throughout this that you can save those links, and then go over and click the videos that Gather Round suggests. You can totally do that. That's awesome that they have. I don't tend to do that. I tend to kind of go on YouTube and find my own and set up a video list. And so that makes it super easy. And you don't have to do that well in advance. You could just do that in your weekly prep before your lesson. So you could come through, read all of your information, and do videos maybe on every Sunday. I will say this unit is very stout. Like, it is definitely chock full of information. So much so that for a couple of lessons, I have definitely broken it up into 2 days. Because I mean, it's sturdy with some lessons. We have the creation of the Roman Catholic Church as well as all about castles in the same unit. And that's a lot, you guys. So I definitely have broken this up into 2 lessons, and I have friends who have done the same. The other thing that I do before I start my unit is I choose a read aloud. And so I chose this King Arthur novel, but there's tons of read alouds that you can choose per your kid's age. I was very surprised. My kids are loving this. This book has great reviews online, and this is going to sound funny. It is not an easy read because of the names. There's so many names and so many names of towns and cities that a lot of times I'll try to find, specifically for this one, like an Audible or like a Books on Tape, because these names there's some serious nameage in here, you guys. But my kids are loving this, which really surprised me because my 4 oldest learners are girls. They have loved this. The other thing that I would do is go to the library and see what awesome books I can rustle up there. And something that I found was this Favorite Medieval Tales. I love this one. They also love this, but I really like this book. It has shortened medieval tales. And they're just the right length for me to do a read aloud for like the day of. So I might read one little short tale from this book, and then I might do this later on when we do our group read aloud. But all of my learners are liking both of these. And I really liked this one because it's quick and easy and really engaging. But see what your local library has. I ended up checking out a DK book on knights. DK is great. All kinds of pictures in here about knights. And I also checked out the Adventures in the Middle Ages. If you haven't seen this cute little series, these are really fun. It's about kids that travel back in time. Those are popular, but my kids really like this too. I suggest both of those. So that was comb through your Gather Round unit with a fine-tooth comb and pull out small projects for them to do throughout the week. If they're not doing their notebooking pages, if they were doing their notebooking pages, that might be too much. But it's something that I really enjoy doing because my kids aren't doing those because they have other work that they're doing. Hit the library. In our family, we really focus on immersion in our homeschool. So everybody chips in when we do a unit study, and we do unit studies one after the other. So we'll go through and I'll tell my husband, hey, we're doing Middle Ages, we're doing medieval times. Can you find us some movie lineups? And he'll go through and he'll find a bunch of different movies that, after dinner, if we have a family movie night, We watch a movie on the Middle Ages. There are a lot of those. I'm just going to name a few. There's First Night with Sean Connery, A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger, King Arthur with Keira Knightley in it. There's Robin Hood, A Timeline. There's the TV show Merlin, Ella Enchanted. Even for your little learners, The Sword in the Stone on Disney. So what I would just keep in mind is that time period was a tough time period. And when it's depicted in film, it's definitely there can be some like red flags. There's lots of gore. It can be gruesome. It just can be not appropriate for your learners. So something that I also use is I use VidAngel, which is great. Maybe I'll do a video on VidAngel, but if you've never used VidAngel, you can look that up. But it has filters and you can filter out anything you don't want your kids to see, which I was running into heavily for videos and TV shows for this time period because there's just lots of gore and lots of stuff that's not appropriate. Now, did it happen? Yeah, it happened, but I don't know that I want my 7-year-old or 6-year-old to see it. So if you're having a hard time finding videos and movies and stuff, definitely check that out. But I definitely said, I highly suggest using videos to showcase what the time period was like. We will also, at the end of this unit, we always do like an end of unit, like something special. If you had the money, you could take your kids to medieval times. I don't have the money. But we'll be doing a medieval feast. My best friend is also doing Middle Ages. That's another resource. If you can and you have a best friend that can tag team you on your gather round units, that is amazing. We tag team a lot when it comes to gather round. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 children between us. And we typically choose the same units and set our years up the same. So it's great because we have built-in besties and we can learn the same thing and the children can discuss, and that's fantastic. So that's a resource. But medieval times, that'd be awesome if your family can afford to go. Otherwise, we're going to do a medieval feast at the end of our unit. So something that you could have your kids do is do stained glass windows with tissue paper. You could have your kids use hot glue and jewels and decorate plastic goblets. So just looking at things that you can do throughout your unit that you can use at your feast at the end is really something that's fun. And medieval times feast, quick and easy, that it'd be something for your kids to look forward to at the end of their unit. So that is what we are doing. Pinterest is fantastic for medieval times or Middle Ages activities for your kids. Definitely hit up Pinterest. And like I said, the Gather Round app has moms on there in the community. You just join the community for whatever unit you're doing. And those moms have a plethora of ideas. So I definitely would utilize that resource. But my best tip for this would be just to go through it with a fine-tooth comb at the beginning and just kind of read through and what catches your eye that you could say, oh my gosh, my kids could do this. That's definitely the way that I do it. And we have a lot of fun in our homeschool. So that's what I suggest. So I hope you found that helpful and not a waste of your time. And yeah, so that's my tips and tricks on the Middle Ages unit with Gather Round.